Hello everyone, I'd like to thank you all for coming out to the Wrong Opinion Clinic for entertainment. Now remember, our purpose here is not to correct your wrong opinion, but to simply lead you on your way to accepting it. Now to start out, I would like all of you to introduce yourselves. Start by just saying your name and admitting where along the way your thoughts diverged from either the consensus or just your cool friends. Let's start with you, sir.
Hi, I'm Todd, and I think Carly Rae Jepsen was better before Emotion.
Okay, and class?
We forgive you.
Very good. Now let's go clockwise and move on to you, sir.
What's up? I'm Jeremy, and I prefer Jared Leto's Joker to Heath Ledger's.
Ooh, that's a serious one. But no judgment here. Class?
We forgive you.
Very good. And you, sir?
Hi, I'm Mark from Spinner Reviews, big channel of 800 subs. And I don't really care for Damn. We forgive...
Bitch.
I'm sorry, what?
You no taste having bit. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
What's going on here?
Well, you see, Mark, as much as we pride ourselves on rehabilitation here at the Wrong Opinion Clinic for Entertainment, Kendrick Lamar has always been our kryptonite. We get a couple of your cases in pretty much every album cycle since Good Kid, Mad City, and sadly, none of our expert training can fully protect those with takes this mercury-shatteringly hot.
It's that bad, huh?
Yes, quite. In fact, just this past week, this odd melon boy came in with your exact situation, despite giving it a decent 7. So to hear you just plain don't like it, that's honestly going to take some special training. But, you know, I'm always open to a tough case. So I'm going to start by opening it up to the class to give you some arguments to prepare you for your Twitter debates going forward. So, without any direct character assassination, anyone want to go first?
Why bother? It's clear you should go back to your Lil Drakey verts where you belong. I mean, you probably think swimming pools is an actual drinking anthem, and you probably got all turned off when To Pimp Butterfly dared to throw in a couple real instruments.
Yeah, I'll stop you right there and direct you to my top 5 albums of 2015. Notice something? Like everyone else, I thought that was a masterpiece that balances introspection, politics, cockiness, and musical innovation perfectly. On top of that, while I'm by no means claiming to be some all-knowing rap guru, or even like one of the top, 50 most well-versed hip-hop listeners that puts videos on YouTube, no surface-level hip-hop listener would have the likes of Aesop Rock and Clipping on a year-end list like I did last year. If anything, my real problem with Damn at the end of the day is that as far as Kendrick records go, this is really the first sign, in my opinion, of the formula getting stale.
What? But he's getting into such deep topics here, like his fame getting in the way of his humility. Mama, You, How Much a Dollar Cost. The suppression of black issues by mainstream white American ideal. Mad City, All Right, The Black of the Berry, Untitled 3. The acceptance Kendrick comes to when he makes the decision to be true to himself and God above all else. Boy, did you even listen to either of those last 2 albums in full. In fact, that reminds me of my only real nitpick with Pimp Butterfly as a whole, not counting the inter-institutionalized, of course. For all the crazy twists and turns that both those albums took in their stories, they're really quite compelling on their own right, they effectively ended the same way. The second to last track is this affirmation statement about staying true to yourself, i.e. real and I, and then it's followed by this vaguely related epilogue song that's pretty good in context, but not many people call their absolute favorite on the record. Damn might not do that to a T, but it does hit a lot of those same beats. Only this time there isn't enough distinctive detail or new ground topically being covered to justify a retread like that. Not like, at least like the switch from ghetto life onto Good Kid, Mad City to pop star life onto Pimp Butterfly.
20 walls around the
Take
border.
the word man out of the dictionary. In fact, take that syllable out of that word too.
I'm terribly sorry, Mark. Hang on a second. Guys, the Wrong Opinion Clinic for Politics is next door.
Okay. Fine. You mansplainer.
Anyway, continue.
Well, if I can interject, why do you think Kendrick needs to push the envelope so hard on every release? I mean, sure, the story is not as complex and intricately detailed and all that, but why can't we just let him pull things back a bit and get more into a comfort zone that we know that he thrives perfectly well in?
Because he's not giving us a reason to come back to this album specifically. Like, conscious rap, or really most cerebrally engaging music to begin with, is about pushing boundaries and addressing issues and topics from angles that'll get people talking. But by not really pushing himself in a content or production, or even going in an interesting new direction, all he's doing is effectively talking to the choir. And plus, no recurring figures to drive a concrete narrative forward like Shireen or Lucy. Only a handful, really, of new takes on these topics, none of which get as viscerally immersive as they did in the past. Compared to that, these songs are all just as vague as their one-word titles.
But again, not everything Kung Fu Kenny does has to fit in some 3-act structure of an album. What's wrong with them boiling down his style into something a little bit more song-based, making it look sexy?
You know, that'd be a really good question if Kendrick only committed to that. Look, I have no problem with the ambitions and pretenses being pulled back for something more straightforward and accessible. I love the last Coheed Cambria and Weezer albums for that very reason. And to Kendrick's credit, he did do this on a good handful of spots here, like Humble, DNA, Feel, and even Duckworth to an extent, and those end up being a lot of my favorite tracks there. I even appreciate Feel as sort of being a version of You for people that thought his delivery there was a little too unnerving, which, even though I love that song, I fully understand. But the way the album's packaged with these uniform track titles, the recurring spoken word and production motifs going throughout, it's all presented as if there's some Tupac interview style revelation that's going to come at the end that never really comes together, in my opinion.
But them flows, y'all!
Some of the most awkward, stilted, and disinterested deliveries he's had on record. Like, really, what cracked out Yes Man told him he sounded flattering at all on the choruses of Lust and God? And really, Todd, some of those catchphrases and nicknames you were throwing out were so forced sounding. Take, I'ma make it look sexy from Element. Like, it's played totally straight, and this might seem like a weird gripe to have, but it's this weird middle area where he's not good-looking enough to make it work genuinely, but he's not weird and goofy enough, like, I don't know, an Action Bronson or Killer Mike or something, to make it work ironically, so it just sounds kinda off. And Kung Fu Kenny, look, I get it's a Rush Hour 2 reference, but the way it's just shouted out by that guy on a good amount of the tracks here just makes it sound so desperate to catch on. And I mean, I know it's a nitpick, but honestly, it's a lot of these little things that add up, in my opinion, to damn just not feeling quite right, you know?
But all the cleverly placed religious imagery, brah!
Tenuous at best. Case in point on Yaha, easily the worst track here in all areas. Seriously, the Rap Genius annotations on this thing had me rolling on the floor. Mumbling about Fox News for a minute, which by the way he does way better in one line on XXX, followed by an incoherent, repetitious mumbling of a common ad-lib, doesn't a clever God reference make. Nothing connects. And besides, even coming from a Christian, why does it matter if he happens to be alluding to God at that certain moment? If that alone made a good song, Hillsong United would be goddamn visionaries. Also, you can't ask me to temper my expectations, then turn right around and try to pull 27 meanings out of a line like that, like you did on All to Pimp Butterfly. You can't have it both ways. You can't half-ass it like that.
But this K-Dot we're talking about, be glad we have someone in the mainstream talking about this stuff.
First off, dude, I'm not patting anyone on the back just for being conscious like they've always been. All subject matters are subject to criticism in their own ways. But more importantly, while yes, I do immensely appreciate Humble taking over the #1 spot from Shape of You, that was a beautiful moment in my opinion, why are you evaluating this album's qualities on its own merits, supposedly, in the context of the mainstream at all? Like, let me ask you something, man. Outside of Kendrick, what other cerebral rappers, or even rappers at all, do you listen to on a regular basis? Macklemore, Hoodie On, and Machine Gun Kelly don't count. This is just my point. Now, I don't know how it is for you guys, but there's this weird subset on my side of the internet that treats I Like Kendrick Lamar with the same credibility-begging attitude as the parents in Get Out saying they'd vote for Obama for a third term. And obviously, I can't speak for how his music may connect with you or what you listen to aside from him, but remember that there are other great rappers out there with his kind of style and topics. And you shouldn't feel the need to force your brain into thinking he's the only hope in changing the rap game for the next year. Most rappers are lucky to do that once. Kendrick did it twice. So, in my opinion, in a weird way, Kendrick has earned the right to tread water for a little bit. In my opinion, Kendrick didn't make another masterpiece, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. All great artists release lesser albums, and despite my issues, I'm not going to entirely fault Kendrick for not living up to the crazy expectations set for him. Fair enough. Look, dude, if you think this deserves the 95 it has on Metacritic and you have your own reasons you want to share, that's great, that's perfectly fine. That's the beauty of this kind of discussion and why we're all here in the first place, am I right?
Yeah, sure, I can go with that. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, you've definitely built up a decent case today. We may be able to help you out after all. Thank you, I'm glad to hear that. Good. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We haven't gotten to you yet. Would you like to introduce yourself to the class?
Weezer peaked with gratitude.
Hey guys, I really want to thank you for watching and try to say indulging in this new review format I had going on. I want to give a couple shout outs to people that really inspired the way I came up with this kind of review sketch hybrid thing. First off, the Nostalgia Critic with his style over the last few years, and pretty much it. These are two review channels I've been following for quite a long time that found themselves kind of stagnant with the reviews for a while, took a long break, and came back with these innovative and super unique ways of presenting them. And I'm just hoping I can be lucky enough and fortunate enough to follow in those same kind of footsteps to really get this channel revitalized. I'm really open to any thoughts you had on this whole video endeavor, and more importantly, your thoughts on Damn, because I would be a hypocrite if I didn't encourage discussion on the album. If you think I'm totally off base, if you think there's something I missed, feel free to respectfully, obviously, talk to me about it in the comments. Of course, after I record this, I'm going to be watching a crap ton of reviews and discussions and all that. Also, despite how much buildup there was about me not being the hugest fan of this record, I don't hate it by any means. I'd probably give it, you know, in the light to decent 6 range personally. That's just me. I kind of went through the same thing with Death Grip's Bottomless Pit last year, so it's not a totally new feeling for me, but it's still a little bit weird to be so out of line with the consensus. So I figured I'd just go all out with that concept. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter. Please subscribe if you think this stuff's cool. Follow my podcast, Mad Sounds. We're going to be doing something really interesting with that with a couple of other people in my whole YouTube world. I hope you guys stick around for that in the coming weeks. Let me know if you want more of these kind of videos. And yeah, I'll see you on the next episode of Spinner Reviews. Bye. Bitch. 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 Bitch.